For most people, any mention of middle school conjures up images of first kisses, lunchroom drama, and marching band practice. But I only remember hair dryers, numbers, and hate. At 5'2" and 80 pounds, I would return home from swim practice every day after school, freezing and wet, unable to feel entire parts of my body. By the middle of my 8th grade year, I had phased fats out of my diet completely, and my ability to retain body heat suffered. The first hour home after school was spent ritualistically blow-drying my mottled skin, attempting to regain sensation in my freezing limbs. Unbeknownst to me, the struggle to regain feeling in a broader emotional sense would define my life for the next 7 years. I remember numbers. I remember developing an encyclopedic knowledge of the calorie count of every food available to me. I remember obsessively memorizing nutrition labels, information that helped me maintain a self-imposed daily caloric limit of 500. But most of all, I remember hate. Now, I don't always remember my best friend's birthdays or directions to important places, but I distinctly recall every negative thing anyone has ever said to me about my body. For years, I archived comments and criticisms in my mind as powerful artillery to use in full-out war against myself. Ever since I can remember, I have hated my body, and I used the lifetime of commentary stored in my mind to validate my contempt. Anorexia and bulimia were not supposed to happen to me. I was the star child, the all-A, honor choir, gifted and talented, child prodigy actress with aspirations of becoming president. My parents insisted that this was precisely why my peers were so vicious to me growing up. I interpreted their jealous comments as truths, as constructive criticisms. When my best friend told me that I was too fat to have been cast as the leading role in the school play, it didn't cross my mind that she was being needlessly mean. Instead, it was my fault that I was so fat as to allow such comments. My body image was my Achilles heel growing up, a weakness that my classmates were quick to target. They helped convince me that despite all other successes in my life, my imperfect body was the one thing keeping me from enjoying true happiness. Now, what began as a conscious effort to get into shape morphed into starvation. I became the new girl at school, an emaciated version of my once healthy self. The guy I liked for years finally paid attention to me. I looked around the lunchroom and felt like I had finally gotten it right. I looked like everyone else. I would drink my lunch of Diet Coke in a martyr-like fashion, accepting that to fit in, I would have to make major sacrifices in my life, even if it meant frequently purging and episodically blacking out. But as all unstable things must crumble, I spiraled into depression. I would sleep for days at a time and cry uncontrollably. I would spend my nights awake carrying out sit-ups and push-ups in my room, counting my ribs, and wondering why my seeming physical success didn't correspond to any emotional fulfillment. My friends stopped inviting me places. I was the awkward girl who didn't eat, choosing to spend my mealtime instead, verbally abusing the parts of my body that still weren't perfect. My best friend told me that if I didn't tell my parents that I was planning to kill myself, she would. I'm lucky. I got better. It's taken a lot to get me where I am today. Countless psychiatrists, nutritional therapists, cocktails of Celexa, Lexapro, Wellbutrin, Prozac. It's taken meal plans, force feeding, parental monitoring, supportive friends, and patient boyfriends. I no longer have the body of an anorexic, but the thoughts persist. I lost so much more than weight during my struggle with eating disorders. I lost the ability to fully trust my body, to allow myself to enjoy food. I lost my own sense of hunger and satiation. I still struggle with my body dysmorphic disorder, and I still blame things on my body. Failed romances, awkward social interactions, and even subpar academic performance. But I am trying. When all is said and done, I wouldn't change my experience for anything. I've learned so much about myself. My fears, my limits, my defense mechanisms, and my hang-ups, struggling with the forces underlying my eating disorder, has helped me reach a deeper sense of self, one that transcends and is not dependent upon my physical being. Most of all, I know that it's not worth it. I know firsthand how incredibly draining it is to constantly hate oneself. Frankly, it infuriates me to see my beautiful friends and myself waste inordinate amounts of time in front of the mirror apologizing for our imagined flaws. Time and energy that could be better spent doing the things our bodies love and feel great doing. Dancing, laughing inappropriately, dancing on tables, and making love are a few of my favorites. I missed out on so much happiness, starving for a perfect body that I could never have, and probably never will. But I now know that perfection lies neither in a hypothetical future nor an idealized past. Perfection is now. Perfection comes when you own yourself completely, when you fearlessly own it all, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Even when I struggle to face myself in front of the mirror, I can safely say that I would take my current curvy uniqueness over my past emaciated self any day. Maybe I do not yet love my body, but I'm learning to trust it, which, in my opinion, is the first step to loving anything.